you have to understand, before I moved in with the family, I was an All-American. That's what I want the generations behind me to see in this book right here, to understand that you don't have to have someone save you and rescue you to go out and be successful. You got every tool in you. And this book right here is a playbook on life. Looking yourself in the mirror when I was 11, 12-year-old kid, telling myself, hey, everyone around you is in an even worse situation that you're in. So you're going to have to get up and do this thing yourself, and developing a routine right then when I could have given up at 11, 12-year-old.
Let's talk about The Blind Side. Let's talk about Michael Oher.
Holy shit.
Let's talk about the Tuohys not doing right by him, effectively tricking him by telling him that he was signing adoption papers, and what he was actually signing was basically okaying a conservatorship.
I don't see where there's even an argument to this, right? Mike was 18 when he signed it. It was 3 months after his 18th birthday, right? It would have been perfectly legal in Tennessee for them to go ahead and adopt him and take care of all the things that they claimed that they got him in a conservatorship to do. A fucking driver's license and health insurance. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
That is stuff that you can get for your child, which he would be if you were to have adopted him. Mm-hmm. A conservatorship gives you money over his business dealings and his income. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no reason for you to have that type of control if you are not seeking to control his money.
Yep.
Not to mention he's never been paid for the movie. That's the one thing that their lawyer did not respond to. He responded to the conservatorship. He responded to the fact that, Michael Oher knew about the conservatorship. He told us all the shit that they did with the money and all this shit. The one thing they never told us was how much money they gave Michael Oher.
It's one thing to make a movie and embellish some of the facts in it.
All of it. Hugh Freeze was in that fucking movie looking like a kindergarten teacher.
That's
Hugh hiring prostitutes Freeze.
Now, there's one thing to completely make him look like an idiot when he was not one, from everything that I've been hearing.
Like,
not even close.
It would have suggested, if you saw this story about the conservatorship and how he was portrayed in the movie, you would have maybe come to the conclusion that it needed to be that way because of some sort of mental delay. And let me clear something up in that regard. A mental delay being present or not is not a sufficient reason by itself for a conservatorship.
To cut him out of the deal completely?
Like not even just the fact that they stole money from him, but to take over ownership of someone's life in that way. You can control where they live. You can control how their bills get paid. You control their money. You control most aspects of their life. It is like power of attorney times 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Having a mental defect, which could be virtually anything.
Sure.
Anxiety, depression, any of those things could be dubbed as a mental defect. That by itself is not enough for you to be considering giving somebody ownership over your life.
But how dirty is it that, okay, he doesn't get paid, but literally all four members of the Tuohy family, including the kids,
you gave the
got
kids
an equal
money.
cut
Yeah,
of the
what
money.
the fuck are we talking about?
That's fucking nuts.
Like let's be real, because the lawyer also tried to claim that, these are very wealthy people. They don't need to steal money from Mike. I'll smack shit at you. When did rich people stop wanting more money? I will smack the dog shit out of you. When did rich people stop wanting more money? When did rich people stop stealing more money?
From people who need it the most.
Oh, we've already got 20 million. I guess we don't need 100 more.
That's
I think
somebody specifically
some
said
football boosters who got to live in infamy. Yeah. Right? Because of that movie. They are hands down the most popular Ole Miss boosters in the history of Ole Miss boosting.
Yeah.
Hands down, bar none.
I think somebody specifically said that because he's going to get money from the NFL, this other money doesn't matter.
Like, why do you get to decide that? Why do you get to decide what's consequential to him? It's his life story. The book that was written, because the author, oh my God, the author took their side, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's no way. They've never given him anything but love. How much did you cut him then? Right? Because you were the one who wrote the book before the movie ever came in. So you would have had to deal with the rights of his life first.
Yeah.
How much did he get paid, Mr. Author? Since you're so professed trying to tell us about the Tully's innocence, please let us know how much was Michael's cut. How much did you negotiate with Michael for his life story? Why are you telling us how much they loved him?
They didn't love him enough to make him part of the family.
Like, there's no getting around this. They did a conservatorship when a simple adoption would have worked just fine. Red flag number 1. They gave money to their kids before they gave it to Mike. Red flag number 2. There's no getting around any of that. None of it. None. A conservatorship in this instance makes absolutely no sense. They didn't have to do it, but they did. Why? Explain to me. And then after you do that, tell me how much you gave that man. Tell me how much money you gave him.
He's an NFL player. He doesn't need my money.
You know what it was? No NIL back then.
Sure.
He was a sophomore, I think, when this movie came out at Ole Miss.
I think so.
Right? He can't make money. He can't make money. It would have been illegal for him to make money off of his life story at that time. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, I don't even know. So if that's the case, how the fuck did we have players out there wearing the Ole Miss emblem? Not just Ole Miss, Tennessee. Nick Saban showed up in that movie from like he was from Alabama. Phil Fulmer, when he was still coaching at Tennessee, was in that movie. All of those universities were able to license out the likeness of their teams, players, and coaches. All of those players, all those universities and coaches got paid. Michael Oher got nothing. And none of this would have been here if not for Michael Oher.
But even if it is that, y'all couldn't wait a year to make the movie?
Until he was old enough to make money off his likeness.
A year. Oh, okay.
He getting ready to go to the league next year. He's getting drafted. Let's put it off. No, you filmed it at a time where you were the only ones who could profit off of his money. Mm-hmm. Money he would never even see, because by the time he's able to make money off of it, it's already been divvied up. It's already been paid out and given to the folks that you saw fit to give it to. There's no argument here. There's no fighting this. They don't have a case.
At all. At all.
Like, even the fact that the lawyer tried to mention that Michael Oher talked about this in his book. You know what he said in his book? He thought that the conservatorship meant that he was a part of the family. He thought it was the same thing as an adoption.
Yep.
Because that's what they told him.
Yep. He was tricked into signing it.
That's what they told him. So yeah, he knew about the conservatorship because you told him the conservatorship made him their son. Mm-hmm. And at that point, he's not thinking about money because he thinks he's part of the family. They lied to him. Flat the fuck out. Why don't you talk about some of the key points that were addressed? Just this despicable time, man. This is gross.
Yep. No, that's some evil ass shit.
Everything about this shit is gross. The one thing I will say to y'all is leave Sandra Bullock the fuck alone. Cause the one thing I'm not doing is giving an award I won for playing a character back because we found out that person was a real life character. Not doing it. Not doing it.
You know. For all we know, that person could have been a fictional character and she still would have got the Oscar for it.
Leave Sandra Bullock alone.
Facts. She still did her thing. All right, let's move on to some other news. So, we are recording this on Sunday. I'm sure I will edit something in here to highlight the actual decision. But it's time to find out who is going to be the quarterback for Ohio State. And from everything I'm hearing now, it seems like everything is leaning Devin Brown.
Fam, that's insane. It's insane. It's a very surprising, if it ends up being that way.
Sure.
It's so surprising from Ryan Day. It's very surprising because just like, I hear the conventional wisdom being, if it's close, go with the younger guy because he's athletic.
Yeah.
That is not what your offense is predicated on. When I think about his offense, I don't think about guys running around back. Like, yeah, JT, but JT, that was Urban's thing. Urban loved a running quarterback because he loved running QB dive.
Sure.
But that ain't what Ryan Day's doing. He's not telling his 6'4" quarterback to stick his helmet in the middle of a linebacker's chest. He's trying to throw the ball.
I don't think he will lead with doing that with Devin Brown either. But
if that's his strength, you have to.
Opens up the playbook a little bit. He gives him a chance to get out if he needs to.
If that's Devin's strength and you're going to start him, you have to tailor the offense to that. You'd be doing him and your team a disservice to try to make him a pocket passer.
I think you give him the green light to run when needed.
But then
that's not when needed.
That is not a benefit like putting the defense at a disadvantage by making him a factor in the run game. And that's not just saying, all right, drop back if you don't get your first read, take off. That's not what that is. That's read option. That's RPO. Sure. That's what you want Devin Brown for if he's going to run.
I was gonna say,
and that's not what y'all did last year.
They might open the playbook and give him some run option for sure. But, like, I think the most important thing is, look, kind of work with this. If nothing else happens, extend the play when needed.
I think if Devin Brown starts for y'all, it fundamentally changes your offense. And that's why it's so surprising to me, because with the pieces that he has around, right? Marv, Ikbuka, all the receivers, you got the stable of running backs, your new offensive line, what have you. It's built for either a game manager or just a gunslinger from the pocket. It ain't built for somebody who gonna tote the rock 10 to 15 times a game. And so if that's what Devin Brown is, you have to fundamentally change what your offense looks like to fit him.
But I think the thing is, okay, so you're not seeing much of a difference between the two of them. If they're both giving you the same thing, but one has,
I don't think they are,
one extra thing.
I don't think they are giving you the same thing.
According to what?
Well, if that were the case, if these were two polar opposites, right? Or excuse me, if these were two cookie cutter options of the same system and they weren't polar opposites, I think that would kind of give you a clear view of who's leading. If they were both doing the same things and each guy just kind of has his quirks, you just pick the quirk that you can deal with, that you can swallow, I guess, and move on. If they were giving you the same thing, I think the problem is that they both do different things and neither one of them are consistent. So you can't really tell who's ascending over who. Devin Brown obviously is a better athlete. He can run the ball. But how do you really get a look on that in fall camp other than when you're like scrimmages and stuff like that, live scrimmages? If you're letting Devin Brown get tackled. If you're letting your backup quarterback who could potentially be your starter get tackled. And if he's not, you really don't know what the fuck you're looking at. You have no clue.
Sure.
Kyle McCord, on the other hand, is trying to play within the offense that's already established, and he hasn't separated himself. So you don't know whether or not that's, is the defense making strides? Are we just better over there? And maybe that's why he's looking that way.
Be a number of things, potentially.
Or is he just not it?
Yeah.
Right? He's had 3 years in this system to get here, and he can't pull away from a guy who's only had a year.
Mm-hmm. It's really hard to say because I, with my own two eyes, have not seen Devin Brown at all this summer.
I just can't imagine him being a better passer than Kyle McCord. But if Kyle McCord, being the better passer, still hasn't made it clear that he's the starter, I don't know what to make of that. I have no clue what to make of that. One thing it don't sound to me is that, oh man, either way we go, we're good. That's not what that sounds like to me. Because if that was the case, you'd have picked a starter. If both guys were good enough to start, you would pick a starter so that you can start building chemistry. I don't think either one has proved that they're the starter yet, and those are two completely different things.
Unless you're trying to give one of the quarterbacks a little bit more time to shine. Or a little bit more time to be consistent like you wanted to see out of him.
Okay. Man, look, Zach Smith got this whole shit turned upside down. I love it.
Well, that's just because...
Watch more Menace 2 Sports.
That's because half Buckeye fans want to believe him or do believe him, and then the others just completely don't.
Summarily dismiss him like
because
he's not
now,
like he's not friends with half the
staff. I was
staff.
gonna say, even if I did not like Zach Smith, I would at the very least have to take some of what he's saying into
You got to
consideration.
take it because, first of all, he's never heard or seen some controversy that he don't like to talk about.
Sure.
And number two, he has a relationship with everybody on the staff.
Yeah.
So if there's legitimate scuttlebutt about Devin Brown, not only is he going to know, he's going to talk on it.
He at the very
He's not
least-
going to keep it close to his vest. He's going to tell people.
He at the very least has a relationship with the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
With the co-offensive coordinator.
With
Brian
the head
Hartline.
fucking coach. They've coached together at every coaching stop that other than UMass. Or wherever Ryan Day and Don Brown were together. That's where I think Zach Smith and him might have split. But they were with each other at Florida. They were with each other at Ohio State. So I'm just saying, if anyone would know who's actually talking about this, who may be privy to some private conversation, now you know Zach Smith in a group chat with these niggas. You know he is. I absolutely believe that. They will never confirm it. They will never acknowledge it, and they will never acknowledge Zach
As
because
they probably shouldn't.
because he's a media guy now.
Yeah.
Right? And you cannot tip off the fact that you were given preferential treatment to Zach Smith and signal that to the rest of the media.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they'll turn on you and they'll start killing you.
Yeah.
Right? But he coached he knows these guys personally. He knows their family members. He knows their wives. He knows their kids. His kids probably do sports with a lot of their kids. When they're not doing football and they're just doing like, hey, let's meet up with our buddy type shit, Zach Smith is there. Don't kid yourself and think that he's not. He's had years of relationship built with these guys. So while I'm not going to look to him for an official depth chart, I'm also not going to just dismiss the things he says because I know he has personal relationships with these guys. All of them, except for the guys who have been added as of recently. So what, Fry and Eliano and, Laurinaitis.
Walton.
Yeah, Tim Walton. Anybody who was added in the last 2 years. Knowles.
Yeah.
All the guys, all the mainstay guys, Larry Johnson, man, come on, man. Tony Alford.
Yeah.
He knows those guys.
Larry Johnson.
Saying he was going to smack the shit out of
He
you,
did
out of these
not
reporters
say
if they
that.
ask us about that Jack position again.
He did not say that.
Only Jack, I know Jack Sawyer. Don't ask me about no more Jacks.
That's
I coach D-line.
well, Jack Sawyer was the Jack, so
Ask the cigar smoker about the Jack. I don't think they knew what it was. I still don't think they know what it was, which is a problem year 3 in the system. Hey, stop telling me about how much better the defense is going to be when we don't even know what one of the positions on the field actually is. Is it going to change every year? Is one year it's going to be a bigger box safety. The next year it's going to be a rangy linebacker. The year after that it's going to be a down D lineman. That is not a position. And it also doesn't breed consistency in your system. How exactly are we supposed to build year over year when one of the 11 positions is different every year?
I will say this. Jack Sawyer played the Jack last year, and he was coming from being a defensive
Tell
end
me you led the team in sacks.
prior to that. Well,
Tell me you led the team in sacks.
no, that's not what I was going to say.
No, but just throw it in there. And he led the team in sacks. Tell me.
No, I'm not going to say that.
No, throw it in there.
In fact, what I'm saying-
he didn't even start, and he led the team in sacks. Say that.
What
Say
I'm
that.
going to say is going against that anyway, in that he played the Jack last year, and he obviously had to make some adjustments to that, which he wasn't able to fully kind of get into that.
But
now
what's
he's
the
going,
adjustment? Is the adjustment that he's a more natural down lineman
He
and he was
very well
playing
could- very
linebacker,
well could be.
or that he was a linebacker who was splitting time at down lineman? Like, what is the adjustment? What is Jack Sawyer? Is he a down defensive lineman,
This
or
year
is he a
he is going to
stand-up
be.
edge?
This year he is going to be a down
Is he?
defensive lineman.
For sure. So we won't be seeing Jack Sawyer stand up where he led the team in sacks last year. Because y'all are telling me that's the problem, but simultaneously telling me, well, oh, he's not a bust. He led the team in sacks.
Actually, I think he was tied for sacks, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay, led, tied, however you want to say it. 4.5 is 4.5.
Right, but 4.5
Okay.
could easily become 6, 7, 8.
Okay, he got 4.5, and I believe that's 4.5 more than he had the year before. Doing that, standing up as an edge.
Behind Zach Harrison.
Whatever. because Zach Harrison wasn't too much. You know what? I'd be willing to guess that if he was tied at 4.5, that other 4.5 came from Zach Harrison.
I believe it was Michael Hall Jr.
Okay. That would actually make some sense. 4.5 sacks from an interior lineman is impressive. From a stand-up linebacker, like playing in space, setting the edge all year. But then again, it is 4 more than he had the year before, right? So I'm just asking what the problem is. Like we kind of already tabled the discussion about the jack. It's stupid. It's dumb as shit.
Well,
and they need to establish what it actually is and keep it there so that you can not only recruit for that position, but that the players playing that position can have some sort of consistency year over year. But even more than that, specifically with Jack Sawyer, is moving him back to being a down lineman full time the answer? Because that's what he was the year before, and we didn't really get much out of Jack Sawyer. And then we've seen a peak in production last year, but that was from him standing up as an edge. I understand Larry Johnson is perturbed. I would be perturbed too because there's no consistency. But is taking the guy who had the most production as a stand-up edge last year and putting his fist back in the dirt the best answer? Seemed like he got the most production.
Well, here's the thing.
Be that as it may, out of standing up.
The person that they're replacing him with is at the very least a much better athlete than he is.
Who we talking about? JT?
CJ Hicks.
CJ Hicks. Okay.
He is probably going to be playing Jack this year.
Okay.
So at the very least, he is much more athletic than Homeboy is. And he will be able to either drop back into coverage if needed, but then also get to the quarterback from that position.
Okay. So then the CJ Hicks is going to be the starting jack. Is that, you guys have a depth chart out already?
No.
Okay. That's the scuttlebutt.
He will at least be playing time there. Let's just say that.
What about the other safety? So where's the safety going to play? With the Sonny Styles? Yeah. Where's he going to play?
Nickel, apparently. Jacob and Gerard Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely not.
So it was definitely, 100%. We had crystal ball predictions in last week, right after Elias Rudolph committed to go to, or flipped to go to Miami, that the Smith twins were 100% gone and headed over to the number 44 recruiting class in the country of the Kentucky Wildcats. Has anybody seen that update on their ticker that the Smith twins have flipped a week before high school football starts? Anybody seen that? Now, they did move back to Kentucky. My thought, though, would be that if you were going to move for your senior season of football, that's probably in the works, right? You know too many people that move, change states from Connecticut back to Kentucky on a whim. And even if you did, right? Because if my sons were going to college there and that was our original hometown, then sure, yeah, that would be something that maybe if they were flipping to Kentucky, sure, yeah, we'd do that in the instance. But then would you sit around on it? Would you do that? Would you move in an instance? Would you go back to your high school team just not to announce that they're going to Kentucky? I'm just saying. And then to wrap all that up in a pretty nice little bow, high school coach comes out and says that it's horseshit. Now, he could be full of horseshit himself.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, some of these wow crystal ball moments are going to be complete horseshit. They're going to be garbage. And as we're looking at it, guys, if the Twins want to play, they in their heart of hearts want to play in Kentucky more than they want to play at Michigan, you let them go and you chalk it up. And you take the slight stammer in the ratings, because losing guys who would rather play at Kentucky than Michigan and sliding back from 6 to 10, I'll take that. I don't want a guy on my roster who would rather play for Miami than Michigan, who would rather take the development at South Beach, Miami over what's going on at Michigan. That just means you weren't going to sift your way through the very deep edge room that we already have as it was, and you were probably going to transfer anyways. right? Like if Kentucky was able to manage to, scrum together your bourbon money for your first 2 years on campus, good on them. And if that convinced you to go. Or if it's just the hometown thing and staying close to home is more important to you than playing for a champion in a perennial factory at your position, what else am I supposed to say to you to make you stay? You're already committed to a top 5 class. If that doesn't make you comfortable and you're entertaining going elsewhere, there's really nothing to be gained from fighting from you, in my opinion. If that's the decision that you made. It's one thing if we're already in the recruitment, if this is a Gatlin Bear thing, which I didn't love, or Jordan Ship, right? Like, we haven't won that commitment yet. It's something altogether if you've already committed to the better program, the better recruiting class, and decide to go elsewhere for reasons. Okay, well then maybe you've told me something about our evaluation up front. Maybe.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to react to it like that up front because literally nothing had happened. Mm-hmm. And then on the back half, if they chose to go there, this is not a kid flipping to go to Georgia. It's not a kid. Gerard Smith had an Alabama offer. So like, come on, man. Don't expect me to lose my panties over the fact that he wants to go to Kentucky because he'll. And I just hate to cast aspersions on the kid's future, but when you make a move like that, I'm gonna be the change I want to see. You usually die on the vine, or you end up transferring out to some other school. Dante.
Yikes.
Can we talk about that now? Can we talk about Dante Moore, Mr. NIL? Never played a day at Oregon, and now he's not starting at UCLA. So he wants to. Reports are he wants to see greener pastures. Absolute fucking nightmare. And thank you that we dodged that shit. Because y'all was clowning us over a guy who has never played a down in college football and is complaining about the money that he's not getting because he's not starting. He doesn't see the correlation between him not winning a job and not getting paid. That's what y'all wanted us to go ahead and pony up $1 million for a high school student for. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen there. Now, while Jim is there, at least. I don't think, maybe I'm being a bit naive, but I don't even think that they'll do that for Bryce Underwood. I don't think they'll do that. Not up front. And not, hey, you can sit on the bench and keep this $1 million. Who's doing that besides Texas A&M or Miami? Besides those two dog shit programs, who's doing that? Who's offering a kid millions of dollars that he can keep even if he doesn't earn it on the field? And if your program is not currently doing that, you want them to? You want them to? Buckeyes. You want Ryan Day, or not even Ryan Day. You want Tony Alford. Who's your defensive coordinator? Oh, Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles and Tony Alford to say, hey, Zaquan, you going to get $500,000 from us regardless of whether or not you play this year or not.
Tony Alford.
Isn't he the DB coach?
No, it's Tim Walton.
Tim Walton, my bad.
Tony Alford's running back.
Running back, my bad. Mixed up here. Low blood sugar, haven't eaten lunch. But yeah, do you think that Walton and Knowles are going to say yeah? And if they are, y'all want that. That's what you want. Whether or not Zaquan Patterson can do a fucking thing for you on the field this year or not, you want him walking around Columbus, Ohio with $500,000 in his bank account. That's the best thing for your team.
No, pay that
y'all
money
don't
to
believe
Brandon
that.
Baker.
Y'all don't believe that. Even Brandon Baker, a guy who can materially help you this year on the offensive line or next year when he comes to campus. What does that do for your team to say, hey, this 17-year-old is better than every single one of you? And just to reaffirm that and make sure it's absolutely clear, we're going to pay him as such. So much for earning it on the fucking field. He's not earning shit. We've already told him before he has a name on his locker that he's better than anyone else we have.
Well, because he's not going to be better than probably Luke Montgomery.
Dog, don't tell me he's not if Luke Montgomery ain't making $500,000. There's one thing to get the guy to come on the campus to make your team better, but then if the guys on your team who are he's supposed to be solidifying aren't making that money, okay, no, you just told me that he's better. Don't tell me that he's Luke Ottmeyer's status when Luke Ottmeyer ain't making the goddamn money. You gonna pay the guy that you think is special.
I don't know yet. We gotta see what these guys actually do when it comes time for it. But I think they're saying Luke might get some playing time, but I don't know 100% sure yet. Incoming freshman, so I don't know.
I would much rather see the guys who have that at the top of their list go where it's going to make them most comfortable.
Sure.
I because it's one thing to pony up the money and get it together to get the guy to come. It's another thing to pay the next guy and the next guy and the next guy and the next guy because it doesn't stop with that guy. You are just setting a standard that's what we'll do to win you. Cool. So now when I walk in the door, that's what I expect. You don't get to go back. You don't get to change up on me, player. You think if KJ Bolden walks through that door that Zaquan Patterson isn't thinking about, hey, yo, let me get that KJ Bolden, please? Even if he goes to Florida State. If that's how Florida State want him, and I don't think it necessarily is.
Sure.
It's crazy that they're like now the dark horse pick in Zaquan Patterson's recruitment too. Florida State doing their fucking thing. But even if that is, you think Zaquan Patterson's going to walk in that room and not expect to get the KJ Bolden treatment? When does it stop? It's not even going to stop within the same cycle you're in.
Yeah.
Got to win off of something else other than money.
Sure.
You got to. Something. Development, program trajectory, proximity to home. I sound like I'm spitting this shit off of the college football.
You literally are. Literally are. Playing time.
Proximity to home. Coach prestige.
Conference prestige.
Stadium environment.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. So week 0 is coming up. Obviously, big teams don't have a game yet, besides, I guess, Notre Dame and USC. But this Saturday, we've got Navy at Notre Dame. What are your thoughts? In Ireland, of all places. If that's not home field advantage, I don't know what is.
The Irish in Ireland, yeah. I mean, how they haven't played in that game yet has baffled me.
You would think they would be the one team to play in that game.
They should have been like the first. But in any case, I don't expect them, obviously, to lose to Navy. I don't even want to see them struggle, to be honest with you. I know it's the service teams, and they're running the damn veer, running the triple op, so I will give them a quarter. I will give them a quarter to middle around with Navy. Anything other than that quarter is going to be a question mark going forward.
Okay.
Don't play with food, as Josh Pate would say.
For sure.
We don't play with food.
Yes.
We don't lose to food, is what he said.
Y'all can go ahead and lose. That'll kill your morale for the season right then and there.
I don't even want y'all to play with food because that's going to give them the ultimate confidence. Don't play with it.
Any confidence.
Don't play with food.
Then we've got a bunch of fun games in UTEP at Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
UMass at New Mexico State.
Poor Jacksonville.
Ohio at San Diego State.
Got
any predictions on any of those three?
Let's go Jacksonville State.
Yikes.
Still fighting for you, brothers.
And then we've got Hawaii at Vanderbilt. Any thoughts on who wins between Hawaii and Vanderbilt?
Shout out to Hawaii. Hawaii gonna blow them out for the people from Maui.
Let's hope. So I can laugh at SEC fans. San Jose State at USC.
I don't expect that to be any trouble for. Wait, San Diego State at USC?
San Jose State.
Oh shit! If it was San Diego State, I'd say Brady Oak gonna hand you an L, baby.
San Diego State will be playing Ohio at that time. So
Brady Elk gonna hand you a L. Oh, he gonna hand Ohio a L for sure. He gonna beat the shit out of Ohio.
maybe it's not Ohio State. So.
They won the Mountain West last year.
Oh,
Oh no, they didn't. They got to the Mountain West Championship and lost.
to who?
Air Force.
Damn.
Yeah, no, it's pretty embarrassing actually.
And then the final game we've got is a whopping FIU versus Louisiana Tech.
Let's go La Tech.
Yikes. Week 0 is not anything to be crazy about. I think last year it was Nebraska and Northwestern.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, at least there was some.
And it
Big
was the
Ten
start
play.
of the end for Scott Frost.
Yeah. Yikes.
Beginning of the end.
Yikes. So at least we got to see some Big Ten teams, but this year it's not much going on in week 0. So we will be back week 1 to give you guys predictions and whatnot.
Yeah, I'll probably watch USC play Notre Dame.
I was gonna say I'll probably watch Notre Dame play.
Well, you will watch Notre Dame play. You're going to watch Notre Dame play every week until they play y'all.
Yeah, probably.
Give us your thoughts. Everything discussed here on this episode of House Divided. Put it in the comments prompt below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Come back next week for another House Divided episode.
Absolutely. Make sure you check out our previous video where we discussed Elias Rudolph going down to Miami. And then make sure you check us out every week. We will be sure to give you more House Divided takes.